It's time now for the Tom Lacey Sports Show. Here's your host, Tom Lacey.
I'd like to say good morning, everyone. We're going to have a great show today. That intro is, I really like it a lot, so hope you guys like it. It's about giving back to the community. But we're going to talk about, we have some unbelievable guests today, and one thing that we don't recognize is the great pitchers that we've had in our area. We've had so many phenomenal pitchers, and I have arguably some of the best here. I know some people will say otherwise, but you guys are entitled to your opinion. I'll even mention some other ones, but I'd like to talk first about pitching. Is what we're going to be, is the essence of what we're going to be talking about. And Max Scherzer once said, whatever the outing is, you can always find a way to be a better pitcher no matter what you do. And also, the great Sandy Koufax said he became a better pitcher when he stopped trying to strike out everyone. He was, I really don't know much about the pitching, but these guys that I have can talk about things like that. And my first guest is my principal and one of the best athletes ever from our area. Classy as anything, and he almost made it to the majors. And I'll ask him some questions, and we'll go from there. It's Mr. Bob Garrow. So, Mr. Garrow, you want to just talk about some of your accolades first, or you're a humble person, so get a little closer to it. There you go.
Well, John, probably I'm not quite sure of the question. If you're thinking of some of the individuals I had a chance to play with, John Roseboro, a former great with the Yankees, and he played with me at Sheboygan. I'm trying to quickly think of the shortstop now. Maury Wills,
Wow.
I played with him at Hornell. Of course, two great Dodgers, and well, it's just a good memory for me to have had that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to start asking some questions. When you played at Hornell, just get a little closer to that so they can hear it. Okay. It was a minor league, and you had some future major league players on that team in Hornell?
Yes, Maury Wills was at Hornell.
Okay.
Of course, he became a shortstop with the Dodgers and held a stealing record.
What stopped you from going on to the next step, in your opinion?
Well, there's a couple things. I was 22 years old when I was signed. I was married. I had a child on the way. So, had to make a living.
Sure.
And you couldn't make a living in the minor leagues. So I had to get a regular job in the summer. So, And the other thing, I had some questions about my arm. Had not the opportunity, of course, before that of playing baseball nearly every day during the summer. So it was a different change on the arm. And it had a problem in high school 1 year with the shoulder. So that was a question mark also. So hard to make that decision, but I had to raise a family, and
Sure.
That's why.
Mr. Garrow, what was your favorite pitch?
Well, that's a hard one. I had one pitch that I depended on. Basically, was control. I took a long time to get myself into some accurate pitching with my fastball. They changed my delivery from a sidearm to an overhand, and it really made a difference. So I don't know. I think probably if I were to pick the best pitch to get out of trouble or to The fastball was fine, but I had some troubles with that until I made my change.
Mm-hmm. When you pitched, did you ever strike out any future major league players at all, or do you recall
Not
anything?
while I was playing in the professionally, but I did the year before.
Okay.
I played against Willie Harrell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We had a league here in the city, or not in the city, but it was called the Northern League. We had teams from Vermont and the North Country, and Willie Harrell played for Malone, and I struck him out.
You're actually in 2 Hall of Fames. You're in the Plattsburgh High School Hall of Fame, Plattsburgh State Hall of Fame. You probably are in the CVBL Hall of Fame. Maybe, I'm not sure if you got in there.
Yes.
That's just outstanding. People don't even realize how great of a pitcher you were because you're so humble. That's why you don't talk about it, and you've always been that way. And could you hit as well? Were you?
Yes, I was a pretty good hitter. It was a left-handed hitter. I was a contact hitter. It's not a long ball. Once in a while, I get hit a long ball, but basically, I tried to make contact with the baseball.
Mm-hmm. Now, some of the players locally that you may be pitching in some of the leagues around here, and who was maybe your toughest out? You know, the toughest guy. Like when he came up, you said to yourself, "I better pitch well against this guy."
Well, that's a hard one, Tom.
I know.
There's a player that maybe none of you would remember because that's when I first started to play. There was an individual a player from Cadyville named Shine Bro. A tremendous hitter, left-hander. He could hit long, he could hit short. Had an old glove, played first base. Very memorable guy. Was a prisoner of war.
Wow.
And he was, if you talk to the older players like myself, they'd probably say he was probably one of the toughest hitters around. I mean, he just made contact, but he could also hit the long ball. Yes.
I love the fact that you talk about someone that people don't even recognize, and maybe his family is listening, and if they are, or any of his friends,
right,
they'll appreciate that. You know, I mean, people don't understand. Well, they do, but there's so many. Back in your time, there's so many great pitchers. I mean,
yes.
Was pitching fun for you? Did you have fun pitching?
Oh, I loved it. Yes, I just loved the baseball. It could have been, I could play any position and love it. Yeah, because I started at a very young age. Started playing with a team from my small settlement called Jericho, and we had a baseball team, and they had about 9 players. Whenever one of them didn't show up, I played. It was like about 13. So I had an early start.
13? Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah. I just wanted to go back on something. You talk about hitters, I think probably, and my good friend next to me here will also go along with it. Some of the better hitters in baseball came from Line Mountain.
Yeah. You are
can
right.
Name a number of them. And from the early age when I played against them, they made contact, and you couldn't throw a fastball by them.
Tough crowd playing. Did you play in the big ball diamond?
I didn't. No, that was before. I played in that same space, that same area, but it wasn't called a big.
That's a legendary place.
Yes.
It really is. And it's also very impressive. Someone from Altona made it so far. I mean, that's impressive, Mr. Garrow. You should be proud of that. And gosh, who are some of your inspirations?
Well, again, we go back a long ways.
Yeah.
My neighbor, his name was Everest Trudeau.
Okay.
And he came along when the central schools were first built. And he went to Altona High School, where I did. But he was a tremendous athlete. He played all three sports: basketball, baseball, soccer, and and wrestling. His senior year, he won the state championship in wrestling. He pinned his man in 4 seconds. A very strong young man, and I hung around with him. He was a few years older than I, so I still have a few scars from playing football with him. But anyway, I would think he was one of the, he was my idol. And,
Nice.
I learned a lot from him.
As you know, I flat out loved your family. That Guy is one of my best friends, and could Mark pitch? Did Mark?
Yes, Mark pitched in high school when we won the sectionals so you forget the year now. We beat Line Mountain in the sectionals, and Guy was one of the starting pitchers. When he wasn't pitching, he was playing second base.
Wow. But Guy never pitched, though, did he?
Guy could have been a very good pitcher. For some reason or another, he decided
Basketball.
he didn't care for it that much. He played Babe Ruth ball for me, and he would have been, I think, I'm not being biased, I think he would have been a very good baseball player. But he decided to spend all his time on basketball, and I had no problem with that.
Yeah, he's one of the best, in my opinion. Top 10 ever from our area, just in my opinion. And you are in also my opinion, because there's people listening, they're saying, but you are one of the top 10 pitchers ever from our area. There's no doubt about it. And so any parting comments? Because we're going to have some guests that you'll be able to talk to. Anything you want to say before I go on to our next pitcher?
Well, when we're talking about baseball and sports, I've had great pleasure of playing with and against some real fine athletes. I still get involved with athletes. We have a group that meet on Tuesday mornings at one of the restaurants. We've been doing that for almost 3 years. A gathering of old players, referees, umpires, and so I stay close to the game. And of course, I had my ear to the earphone last night when Freddie hit the ball out of the park. So anyway, sports has been my life. My sports has led me to other successes. If I hadn't had that background, I wouldn't have been that lucky to had the pleasure of being involved in many things.
That's great. Okay. When the other guys come on, they're going to be asking you some questions. So we're going to move on to our next pitcher, and that would be Tom Neal. And I think a lot of people know Tom. The main thing about him is longevity. I don't think anyone has pitched and thrown as hard as he had. You know what? I've never even watched Tom pitch, but I hear about him all the time. And what did you ever top out at, pitching wise, as far as your miles per hour?
I'm not positive, but I know I was clocked at like 88 miles an hour at one point. But we didn't have radar guns everywhere we went when I played, and so I know that I threw that hard or harder at times in college. But I know you went to a question with Mr. Garrow about favorite pitch, and you can throw hard, and it's wonderful and successful. But as you move up the ladder in baseball competition, guys can hit the fastball, especially if you throw it more than once. So I developed a changeup, which especially in college, was my pitch, because it just when you found a player that was frustrated by a changeup, he would start yelling at you to throw a fastball, and you'd say, well, not until you hit the changeup.
How about a curve or slider? Did you have anything? Did you throw any
That's one
different
of the frustrations in my life, because the slurve, sweeper, slider that people throw now, they would not allow me to throw when I was younger. It was all overhand breaking balls. And quite frankly, one day I could throw an overhand breaking ball very well, and other days I could not. And I learned unfortunately, after college, that the slider was a devastating pitch. Everyone thought it hurt your arm. I don't agree with that necessarily. And then I developed that after college, and that became one of my best pitches, because I learned I could use different shapes to get technical about pitching, different shapes in my breaking ball and my changeup to throw hitters off, and not just one kind of breaking ball that they try to teach you.
Is this your first year not pitching? Did you pitch last year, or did you pitch this year? Did you throw?
I did not pitch this year, sadly. I did pitch a few games last year, but found out that my arm is great. My back argues with me, and I'm 55 years old now. So as much as there were mornings when I woke up and said, "I'm going to the baseball field," and my wife said, "Me too," and I said, "Well, no, we're not." And I didn't. So I stayed away this year.
Longevity. There's no one that has had the longevity that you have had, and the hitters that I hear that I talk about, they said Tom Neal was one of the best. He is. He wins those big games, and one of the questions I asked, do you ever get mad out there? I mean, people just used to say that he just has this straight face all the time. But
well, that's funny, because I think I'm the kind of player that kind of wore my emotions on my sleeve too much. Although that was just who I was. I was I think I was quite fiery, very competitive. To put kind of a spin on and I never want to get caught up in who's the best. I know we can all have opinions. My thought always was, I want it to be the best today.
Nice.
I think most pitchers would say, like, if I was going to pitch against Mr. Garrow in a big game, I want to be as good or better than him today. I want to keep I'm actually, when I'm competing as a pitcher, maybe I will face him, maybe he'll face me at the plate, but we'll never truly face each other. We're pitching on our own, but we want to beat each other, and we want to be the better guy that day. And fortunately, a lot of times I was able to do that and be successful, and other times I wasn't. And like you said, Max Scherzer, the great pitcher, who said you can always learn. That's part of pitching. So you learn, even when the fun part of it, going back out on the mound, even when I was 54 years old, and pitching was, I thought I might be able to throw a little better changeup today. Maybe I could get a little bit more movement on my fastball today. And that was what I bet Mr. Garrow would agree, and all the other pitchers that I hope are listening, that they wanted to compete and they wanted to be better today than themselves and than their opponent.
You talked about Tommy Masson. I remember him too. Did you play with him?
Well, a reason I know I wrote down some notes there. So I played at the College St. Rose with just an amazing, they're kind of an upstart team at the time that I was there. The coach was beloved by my father, actually, who kind of coached against him a little bit.
Your father was great, by the way. Loved
thank
him.
You. And so Tommy is one of the pitchers that pitched for Plattsburgh High School, great pitcher, Hall of Famer, I think, at the high school. I think the Legion now, too. And he was someone that was just so much fun to play with, and he kind of, no one would know who St. Rose was from here, like personally, of the players, but we were just kind of a group of guys that was just so much fun to play with, and it made, again, my life is just filled with, I could spend hours talking about how baseball, helped me with my marriage, helped me with my career, helped me grow as a kid, and so,
You're very
one of my great friends.
Very well respected, very classy person, Hall of Famer, like I said. who was your toughest out? I mean, I know that's a tough one, but you must have, like, so I asked Mr. Garrow the same question.
You asked me that question prior to this, so I was like, I don't know. But
I see.
But I think, so again, when you're a competitor on the mound, you have confidence that if you make your pitches, you can get anybody out. I mean, you can get anybody out. Through high school, I was pretty dominant. And I don't like to say that, but
I know that's the way you are.
As a senior, there's no better hitter from our area than Doug Kimbler.
Wow.
But I just felt like, I could be. Don't let him hit a 3-run homer. I'm sure I struck him out a couple times, and I'm sure he tagged a few balls hard off me. But just don't let him beat me, and I can get the guys out. But everybody from Plattsburgh, from my kind of generation, I'm probably multi-generational, fortunately for me. But Stephen Perrier,
yes,
I believe he could have went somewhere big time.
Yep.
As good a hitter as I have ever faced in my life, there's no doubt. And the kind of I know we're not talking about hitting, but just I have a lot of respect for him. And the way he played the game and the way he would tip his cap. If I struck him out, he'd say, Tommy, great pitch.
Classy guy, too. Gosh.
And Scott Baker, of course.
Yes, another longevity, too.
Is the one. And a funny thing that maybe pitching in Plattsburgh, especially, again, in my generation, when you pitch at South Acres and Bailey Avenue Fields, they're 326 feet maybe to center field. South Acres maybe shorter. So anytime you faced, and I could list a whole bunch of guys from the Plattsburgh Cardinals and the Altona Hornets and Line Mountain Miners, you didn't want anybody up there who could hit a fly ball 330 feet. Because the 330, if I throw a changeup to all those guys in college, 330 foot fly ball on a legitimate field is a great pitch.
Yeah.
In South Acres and Bailey Avenue, they are running around the bases, flexing their muscles. So you had to be careful of giving up a fly ball in those small fields.
Yeah.
But it was made you feel good when you got them out anyway.
Did you pitch at Chip Cummings Field? Because it's hard to hit a home run there.
Yeah, that is cavernous. So it's the home of the triple. And it's a great park to pitch in, actually, especially if you have a good outfield.
Quickly talk about your Freddie Freeman really quickly. Did you like it?
As a Brave, well, I am not a Yankee fan. Sorry.
Of course.
I've been a Braves fan for a long time, and Freddie Freeman is, in my opinion, just a class act. A great baseball player, very humble, and I was happy for him because it's hard to read sometimes when he hits a home run if he got it or not, because he'll just put the bat down and run the bases.
Yeah.
I loved to see him grab that bat and flip it and smash it on the ground a little bit and look at the crowd and say, yep, I got you.
I could tell you Mr. Garrow and myself did not like that. All right. We did not like that at all. So, real quickly, why was Cortez in the game?
Well, I mean, listen, it is impossible. And if they left in Cousins, I think is the pitcher, to face the lefty, if he doesn't do it, Bob Boone would be run out of town. If, he makes a change to a different lefty, which I understand the hill, I guess, but he doesn't come through.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think Bob Boone is worried about us. I think he coaches, and he has the numbers, and he is working with major league coaches who know what they're doing. So sometimes Freddie Freeman just beats you.
Yep. Former Atlanta Brave, your favorite team. Okay, let's see. We're going to move on now, and you'll be able to talk to these individuals. Let's call the person. You have
Tim
everything
Salerno.
there. Tim Salerno, yes. Let's hope he's there, because he's all the way in Mineville, and he's an expert on Johnny Padres. So Mr. Drew is calling him right now, and it's pitching is just I love. I don't like to talk about myself, but I wish I could have pitched because I know it was so much fun out there. I mean, I wasn't very good.
It can be a lonely world on that mound sometimes, but
it's got to be fun. Competing. It's got to be fun.
Nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
I love that.
So let's see if Tim's going to answer. And if not, we'll move on to someone else. So, before we get to him, what's that now?
Can't get a hold of him.
Okay. Tim, if you are listening, well, you don't get wiry in Mineville. So, he's on? Okay. All right. So, unless you have the app, I don't know if you guys know this. I played Babe Ruth and Neal Facette. He's on me right now about talking about myself, but I have a record in Babe Ruth. I made all 3 outs in 1 inning.
I've heard the story. I love it.
I struck out 3 times. We batted around 3 times.
For Johnny Flynn, please.
So,
okay.
A record never to be broken.
From Wiry, we're on the Tom Lacey Sports Show.
Unbelievable.
We'll be on in a sec, okay?
Okay. Tim Salerno, if you're listening.
Johnny Flynn.
Okay. We have Johnny Flynn here. Hi, John. Are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning. Where are you right now? You're in Albany?
I was in Albany, but I'm in Peru. I'm a little bit under the weather, so
okay.
Got a really bad cold, so I stayed home. I'm in Peru.
All right. Have you been listening so far to these 2 great individuals?
I have not. No,
okay.
I have not.
Well, I have Tom Neal. Did you ever pitch against Tom?
No.
Okay. And we have Mr. Garrow, who...
yep, I know Mr. Garrow.
Yep. Was Mr. Garrow one of your... a coach of yours at all, or...?
He was not.
Okay. All right. I sent you some questions, and they're very similar to everyone else. First of all,
okay.
what was your favorite pitch?
My favorite pitch at the beginning of my career was my curveball, but once I got to college, I realized that I needed more than a fastball and a curveball, so I really worked hard on a changeup. Jack Billingham, who used to pitch for the Reds.
Oh yeah.
During the Pete Rose days, once he retired, he became our pitching coach for a couple of years. So sat next to him, learned everything I could from him, and he really taught me a really good changeup, and that ended up being the better pitch that I had.
Everyone's, the changeup, I guess, is essential. It's essential. Do you think Cortez threw a changeup to Freddie Freeman last night?
He did not.
Okay.
The Dodgers were hunting first pitch fastball, so that's how that ended.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of your inspirations. Who are your inspirations?
Who were my inspirations? Well, I was a huge Ron Guidry fan.
Oh yeah.
Back in '79 and '80. So Ron Guidry was everybody knows was a great left-handed pitcher for the Yankees. So I really looked up to him, and to be honest with you, it was my family, my grandfather, my father, my cousin Mike, the Flynn family legacy. I looked on Twitter. Somebody sent me a picture of the day. My grandfather coached a team in 1943 ES Mason team. So, the Flynn name has been here for a long time. It's been in sports a long time, and I was just part of that, and that meant a lot to me. So I just, really tried to have the best career I could with those guys in mind.
That's amazing. Let's talk. Who was your toughest out after high school? Like CVBL or wherever, post 20, or someone locally that we would know, would remember. Like,
a couple guys from Peru, John Petro and Doug Rombach, were 2 guys that, not big names in the Peru lineup, but those guys I really had a hard time getting out. But you have time for a quick story.
Sure.
Glenn Petrashun was the big hitter in Line Mountain.
Oh yeah.
And I came home from college. looking for a place to play, so I ended up playing for the Spirits. So my first trip to Line Mountain, Tom Kowalski Sr. was the manager. So, you know, I was a freshman in college. I just had a great freshman year. I ended up getting like second team all conference, rookie of the year, all that stuff. So I come home and I'm feeling pretty good about myself. So I go to Line Mountain, and I think my dad tried to warn me, be careful when you go to Line Mountain what you're doing. But I was 18 years old, and, you know, I was feeling good about myself. So first time up, I throw a fastball down middle, he hits it over the right field fence. And Tom Kowalski Sr. is calling me college boy, and they're getting on me pretty good. So next time up, I said, you know what, I still can get my fastball by him. So we hit the triple off the top of the right field fence. And the whole bench is yelling college boy at me. And stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
Third time up, I learned my lesson. I threw 3 fastballs, 6 inches on the outside part of the plate. And he is in the box, and he's dying for me to throw him a fastball. And Tom's yelling at me, and so I said, you know what? I threw the 4th pitch 6 inches outside, and he swung at it. And he grounded it back to me. So at that moment, I said, you know what? He's already hit a home run and triple off me. I'm going to make him run all the way to first base before I throw the ball. So that's my Glenn Pettigrew story. And you know what? After that, I never had problems with him. So I learned my lesson fast in the CVBO. You got to be smart. And,
yes.
You know, when I played in the CVBO, there was a lot of good teams and a lot of good hitters. So you had to be a little bit smarter than you were when you were 18.
How was it pitching at the Big Ball Diamond? Was the crowd rough on you? Well,
at the beginning it was, but you know, we never really. Every time we went up there, we won 90% of the games up there. I don't really think they ever had a lot of good pitching. They could hit, you know, but they really didn't have a lot of good pitching. But our biggest rival was the well drillers.
Oh yeah,
the Peru well drillers. And that was you know, we'd win it one year, they'd win it one year, we'd win it one year. So we sort of took turns winning it, but that was our big rival.
Everyone recognizes you as one of the best pitchers, and just everyone in here. They're all great pitchers, and I'm going to name some other ones. Just mention them. You don't even have to comment on them. Jeff Dory, I heard, was a great pitcher, and Scott Baker, and even Petrashun pitched. Tommy Hackett, and the guy from Al Sable, he Murphy.
Yep, Dale Murphy.
He was amazing too. He had 26 strikeouts in a game once. It must have went extra innings.
Yeah, he was a really good pitcher. Yeah, he was a really good pitcher. He threw very hard.
So pitching around our area, don't take this the wrong way. I hope no one does. But Section 10 had 2 major league pitchers. Deshays and who was the other one? Tom Browning. And the Albany area had, you know, quite a bit too. And we had one, and everyone knows who that is. It's Johnny Padres. And I think a lot of you guys could have made it. But you know what I think the reason is, and you guys might think this is wrong, is Plattsburgh is such a great place. You know, it really is. And I think it's God's country, and people just love it here, and they don't want to go to that next step. Minor leagues could be tough sometimes. You don't make a lot of money, but that's my opinion, and I'm probably wrong, but but that's just my opinion on stuff like that. But could you hit as well? I mean, were you a good hitter, Johnny?
I was okay. You know, I did what I had to do. I was fortunate enough to hit behind during post-20 days. Jack Daly, who was probably the best outfielder around here, batted first, and Todd Wilkinson batted third.
Oh,
so I was in the middle of those 2 guys. So all I had to do, you know, Jack would get a single, steal second, and I'd bunt him third, and Todd would hit him home. I mean, so it was easy for me to hit in the second spot. But then when I got the Spirits, you know, 2 other guys that no one talks about, and I rave about these 2 guys, is Brian Cross, the basketball coach at Mariah.
Yep.
You know, he played at Cortland, and he was the best shortstop, you know, around. And he batted first, and Danny Hoy batted third. Danny Hoy was a pitcher at Cortland. So I got a Cortland guy in front of me, a Cortland guy behind me. And that's why our years in Al Sable were so good, because we had, you know, those 2 guys really made the team. You know, they were great hitters and great fielders. Danny Hoy was unbelievable center fielder.
Okay, wow. I didn't even know that about him. And did your dad coach you at all, or
my dad coached me when I
indirectly?
was growing up, but when
Yeah.
I got to MAI, Joe Staves was my coach.
Okay,
And he was a catcher at Cortland too. So between Joe Staves and Mike Flynn, those two guys, those were the baseball guys. And I was very fortunate to have Mr. Staves as my coach because he was so knowledgeable with baseball.
Yeah.
And pitching because he was a catcher. So that made it easier for me too when I had somebody to
Yep, we're going to take a break here, and we'll get back to you. Okay, just hold on.
Okay.
So, trying to think of. So you played at MAI, correct?
I did.
And
Correct.
in high school, you already mentioned that already about who your toughest out was. So, I got Tom. Do you want to ask Johnny any questions at all? Do you have anything for him?
Well, you put me on the spot there.
Yeah, I did. You know Tom
Hey,
Neal,
Neal.
right?
Yes, Tom. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing great. I know Johnny Flynn. I wish I would have played against him a little bit. I think I may have caught the end of his career and the end of John Zeron's career. But I chose to play in Vermont when I was in college so I could play a little bit more baseball. They had a men's league, but we traveled. So, Johnny, I wish I would have pitched against you or with you, perhaps.
Yes.
And maybe you can talk. I know that John Zeron is kind of a
Yes.
special pitcher in this area. I don't know
Yep.
if you got to play against him. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say
Yes.
a little something about his ability, and I think you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, he was supposed to be here, and something happened, and without a doubt, he's one of the best. There's no doubt, and I know that he had a big doctor's appointment, which I think I'm hoping for good news. I think he might be 10 years cancer free. I'm hoping, John, if you're listening, that you give us the good news on that. So let's see who this is here. And
John and I were teammates. John and I were teammates too.
were you really? Okay.
Well, he came from the Well Drillers to the Spirits in the CVBL. So we played together for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think John
Okay.
used to tell me a story that he was the top pitcher, and then he was getting a little sore, and then they put in this kid, Johnny Flynn. And then all of a sudden, he was for playing first base more than he used to.
Okay. Wow. So it's been great talking to you, John. You're again one of the top 10, maybe in my opinion. In my opinion, sometimes people don't agree with my opinion sometimes, but I think the top 5. That's where I have you. So of all time in our area. So
Well, thank you.
okay. All right. We hold on. We have a. Can Fuzzy actually?
I'll put him on hold and put Fuzzy on the second line.
Okay. Well, no. We're gonna say goodbye to Johnny. John, you get better. Okay. We have
I just got a back cold. Thank you. Hey,
Okay.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. You take care.
Okay. Bye bye.
Okay. We have a caller, and it's Fuzzy Facette. Coach Facette, are you there?
I'm there, Tom. Are you there?
Yes, I am. We have
Okay,
Mr.
You've been talking about baseball. Wait a minute. Can I talk? I'm going to talk to you. Let me turn this damn radio off here.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm getting back feed here, whatever it is.
All right. Go ahead.
Here we go. You've been talking baseball to one of my good friends, Bobby Garrow.
Yep.
Okay, Bobby Garrow is probably the best pitcher ever around here.
Wow.
Praise to God, he should have made it in there. But he didn't mind throwing that ball to make you get back from the plate. If you're standing too close to the plate, he didn't mind throwing you that baseball close enough. I can tell you how I know this. It's because I was umpiring back in the days. I wasn't a baseball player. I played baseball, but I stunk. But anyway, another baseball story is, speaking about Line Mountain players, Pickle Pulaski and he has a son, Matt. We wanted to get Matt to come to St. John's Academy to play. So Pickles was at the plate, and I was umpiring, and Pickles couldn't hit a curveball worth a darn. So he turned around to me and said, Fuzzy, if you can get Cliff Coyer, I think that was the name, from Bloomingdale, to throw me a fastball, I'll send Matt to St. John's. So I got a timeout, went out and talked to him, and he threw him a fastball, and sure enough, Pickles hit it right out of the ballpark, the old ballpark up on the mountain there.
Gosh.
Okay, another thing that's in my craw here been in there for so long, Bob Garrow being one of my good friends, I don't know why he's not on the facade of Oak Street School.
I know.
I have a bone to pick with the whole school board that voted against that.
Yep.
I hope some of you are listening out there. You really missed the boat on this one.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody ever deserved it anymore, it's Bob Garrow.
Mm-hmm.
And let a name, influence your decision. And I've been upset that for a long time. And I wanted to get it off my chest, and now it's off my chest. And if you don't like it, you're not going to bother me. It's not going to bother my mentality or anything like that. But I think you should come up for a revote.
Yes.
And I'd like to see Bob Garrow's name on Oak Street School.
Without a doubt. He was my principal there, and he was the best.
Without a doubt.
Everyone's the best.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you don't talk. You're taking it away from me. I got one more thing here. You're talking baseball.
Yep.
My son Neal played baseball in prep school with Mo Vaughn.
Yes.
Over at Trinity Pauling.
Yep.
Okay, and nobody knows this, probably except me and Neal, naturally. Neal had more home runs than Mo Vaughn one year at prep school.
My gosh.
You never knew that, did you?
Yeah. Neal tells me about that. Yeah, he told me that, and
Neal would tell you that. He doesn't brag.
I know he does, but he did tell me that the other day, and the fact that Neal played first base.
I wanted to let you know that. Now, the umpires that we had back in the day, the Line Mountain Chapter Baseball Association, we had some great men umpiring.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to umpire for practically nothing. They had to go in the stands and take up a collection. I guess it was $25 or something like that. Anyway, it was enough money to come home after the game and take my wife Judy out for a Michigan or something.
Mm-hmm.
But the umpires, then I'm going to mention a few names, were Eddie Johnson. He's a good umpire. He was a good umpire, even though he only had one eye. He couldn't do the plate, but he did the bases. He's a good umpire. You had, let me see now, you had Blackie Brace, was a good umpire. You had Billy Flynn, of course, was a really good umpire, almost made it to the majors.
Mm-hmm.
You had Nubby O'Connell, good umpires. You had, I can't think of all the others. But anyway, there was one group, and we were terrific. We covered the whole leagues and go every Sunday somewhere to umpire. But the umpires played a big role in North Country baseball. And I believe they still do.
Yes, they do.
But anyway, if I'm missing anything, I want to get off my head.
Okay.
Out of my craw here. And Tom,
all right.
I know you're a good friend of mine, and I hope you know it too. I want to make sure that I get all the particulars when you run or do your bicycling in the marathon, New York City Marathon.
Okay, thanks.
Which is coming up pretty shortly, isn't it?
Next week, yeah.
Yeah, next week.
We'll talk about that next week. So, but I'm going to stop by and see you, okay? We have to get on to our next guest, which is going to be Lefty.
That's part of what I wanted to say.
Keep listening, because we have Lefty Tessier next, okay?
Oh, my golly, Lefty Tessier.
All right.
Okay, I'll keep listening.
Okay.
I remember Lefty Tessier really well, because Lefty Tessier and we look alike. And I've been mistaken on the streets of Plattsburgh as Lefty Tessier.
All right.
Lefty was working at running the nursing home up there by OVA where my mother was there.
Yep.
So I used to see him a lot.
Okay.
Okay, Tom,
thank you.
Now.
We're going to give him a call right now.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, let's give Lefty a call. That was Coach Fuzzy Facette, and he's hilarious, as we know, but just one of a kind, and yeah.
I think I was telling you, Tom, that I think you could do this show for hours and days and weeks because the North Country is passionate about the history of baseball. And stories like that would fly for months if we just let the radio go.
Yeah, we're having trouble getting a hold of some people. Okay, let's see. I do have that the correct number. Let me get to it. I knew that would happen. Okay, it's what number did I give you again?
585-710-3384.
Gosh, that's oh, okay. Hold on just a second. Guys, Tom, keep talking about baseball until I get this telephone number.
Well,
okay?
I've always wanted an opportunity because if I ever had this, I never maybe have it again. If talk about some influence in my life, and just quickly, because I have the opportunity, my father, Cliff Neal, was just an amazing man, and he guided me through baseball and had a lot of influence on a lot of kids in this area. And then before he passed away, started kind of somewhat of a pipeline of kids who were successful at the College of St. Rose. And one other name, it was just Little League, but Little League was so important in my life, and I think so many kids, especially years ago, was Peter Sullivan, who was a wonderful teacher, coach at Plattsburgh High School, and I was so lucky to move here from Kalamazoo, Michigan. I should have been the number 1 pick, but I think I was the last pick of the draft in the first round. But I got to play with Mr. Sullivan, who had one of the best teams, and he was just an inspiration to many kids. So I always thought if I ever had this opportunity, I would always want to shout out Mr. Sullivan, Pete Sullivan, one time for what he did for me and many kids.
Okay, that's great.
I've got something to share with all of it. I agree with you in terms of Mr. Sullivan. I know him quite well, and well, to talking about baseball, how far it goes back in the North Country. There's a story. Again, I don't know if you know anything about Jericho. It's a small Trent settlement that is, if you go to West Plattsburgh and you go to Altona, there's a small settlement there called Jericho. And they had a team, very early team, they didn't have fields and so on. My father played. And there's a story that they were playing in a pasture, and Sheriff, oh boy, I could forget his name, Ducat, was a player, and they were called the Jericho Generals. Well, the story is, former Sheriff Ducat hits a cow and gets a double. And that was in the newspaper, I guess.
Wow.
But that's why, they played anywhere where they could find a place to play. But, I mean, it goes back in history. Baseball goes far back in history here.
We're having trouble getting a hold of Lefty Tessier. And, Lefty, if you're listening, there's a couple numbers we have. That's why.
Tell him if he's listening, call the station.
Oh, okay. If you are listening, Lefty, and obviously we'd love to talk to you, the number here is 518-563-1340. And let me try this myself here. Maybe, let's see here. Let's see if this is him right here. Hi, is this Lefty? Hello? Hello, Mr. Tessier? Are you there? Hello?
Anybody there?
Yes, here we are.
Okay. Well, here I am.
Okay, we have Mr. Garrow here. You know Mr. Garrow pretty well, right? Okay. It's probably bad reception. Let's try it again. And I'm sorry this is happening. We'll figure this out. It's technology, right? Technology. It comes down to... What happened there?
I have no idea.
Okay, if I lose you, we'll just move on. But I'm so glad that you're, everyone knows about how great of a pitcher you were. You have the record for most strikeouts ever in our area. 27 people you struck out, and you played at St. Michael's. Is that correct? And
that's correct. Yes.
He also Lefty also scored 64 points in a basketball game in high school too. So, do you have any questions for Mr. Garrow while he's here? Do you remember Mr. Garrow, Bob Garrow?
I do. The biggest question is, how are you doing, Bob?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's good hearing your voice.
Yeah, he's doing well.
Yes, I know it's been a long time since we have seen each other. I guess the last time I interviewed you. But anyway, I hope you're doing well. I'm hanging in there. And fortunately, I'm still standing up.
Yep, and ditto. I am still standing up too, and I'm doing fine.
Good. Talk about a little bit about some of your inspirations. And I'm going to call you Mr. Tessier because I think the world of you, even though I've never met you. But everyone talks about Lefty Tessier. Everyone. I'm not kidding you. I mean, so you were in the top 5 for best pitchers ever. And what was your best pitch, first of all? And then tell me your inspirations.
In those days, I'd have to say I threw it pretty hard. I don't know how fast because we didn't have any idea about speed at that time. But I was a left-hander, and I think that made a difference. And not a lot of left-handers around, and so batters weren't used to it. So that helped me out a little bit. And I had a pretty good curveball.
Okay. We have Tom Neal here, who pitched till he was 55 and pitched well. You probably haven't heard of him, but he talked about the changeup. Did you have a changeup?
I did not. No. No. Not on purpose, anyway. I might have thrown a curveball a little slower, but that was about it.
Yeah. In high school, who was your toughest out? On other teams, who, like when this guy comes up, you're saying, I better give it my best against this guy. Who would that be? Or if you don't recall, or that's okay. But was there anyone that you really said, I better throw hard or curveballs?
Well, what I could say is, I don't remember a lot of names. Pete Cronin from St. John's.
Okay,
Academy
yes.
Would be one. Who was a close friend and actually in my wife and myself's wedding. And Pete had a great career in the pros. There were very good players there, and Line Mountain had great baseball teams, as did MAI and St. John's. So I don't recall a lot of names, to be honest with you.
Do you remember Fuzzy Facette? He was just on. He talked about you, Fuzzy Facette.
Well, Fuzzy was just a little bit ahead of me. Yes, I do remember him. But not so well,
Yeah. Funny guy. Yeah. Talk about that 27 strikeout game.
Well, I really don't know how I was able to finish that. That was 15 innings, and I pitched the whole game, and that was quite an experience. That was against MAI.
Okay.
So I'd have to rethink what I just said. They obviously didn't have very many good hitters because 27 strikeouts is quite a lot. So I'll thank them for not being able to hit well. But it was I don't know, just a long day. I think we played the game at the old Plattsburgh High School field, and I was throwing well, throwing a lot of strikes, and for whatever reason, I lasted 15 innings. I got beat though. That's the sad part about the whole thing.
Oh my gosh! Oh.
3-2.
Darn. Okay. Mr. Garrow, do you have any questions for Lefty at all? Anything you want to talk about?
No, I actually, speaking about strikeouts, I recall one game I saw you pitch in high school. I know you struck out 20 that one day, but I don't remember. I think it was against the city team. And of course, I had the pleasure of working with you when we were in the Canadian League, the Senior League, and those are good memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Senior League was some great baseball. I mean, that for guys like myself in the North Country there, that league in the summertime was impressive. I mean, there was a lot of really good players, and fortunately, Bob actually coached us at one time during those summers. And you got great competition because the teams from Canada all had some ex-pros and semi-pros that had a lot of baseball experience professionally. So it was just a great training ground.
Yeah, I heard that Jackie Robinson played in Montreal. Did you pitch against any major leaguers? Anyone? I know that they would come to Bailey Avenue. He actually came to Bailey Avenue. My father told me that. But did you pitch against any major league people and mow them down? You didn't?
Never did.
Okay.
I did in the U.S. Army when I was in the service, but I don't even remember their names at this point.
Okay.
But that Fort Dick, I pitched for the Fort Dick's baseball team.
Wow.
And so that was an experience that kept me busy while they tried to make me a soldier.
Yeah, a lot of people were soldiers back then, and it took like Ted Williams, and and so they lost a little bit of their time. But
I never had the opportunity to play against Jackie Robinson for sure, pitch against him, and I'm grateful for that.
Not what I hear, Lefty. I heard you could really pitch well, so I think anyone would have had trouble hitting the ball against you. So we have to move on. We're running out of time. So it's great hearing from you. Thank you so much for, I know you've been busy, and you're in Florida, right? Is that where you are? Or I'm not sure.
No, I live in Rochester, New York.
Oh, okay then. All right. So, okay. Well, thank you so much. And Freddie Freeman, are you happy what happened last night?
I am. I'm well, as I think I told you earlier when I talked with you, I'm a National League fan, so I'm
that's
rooting
right.
for the Dodgers.
Okay. All
Never
right.
been a Yankee fan, even to the extent that I didn't accept an opportunity to play with them in the minor leagues years ago.
Wow. Okay. Well, you take care of yourself. All right. And
I will.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for calling.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was Warren Lefty Tessier. People recognize him as one of the best too. Someone told me he could throw left-handed and right-handed. I'm not really sure if that's. Well, I'm sure it's true if someone said it, but it's not looking like we're going to be able to get Tim Salerno on here. But Tim, if you are listening, what I'm going to do is maybe have I'm going to have another pitching show. There's some young kids that might make it to the majors, and I'll have you on again. And I'm sorry it didn't work out. We tried hard, but we're gonna call another pitcher up right now. It'll be our last one, and it'll be Matt Same. So Matt, be ready for the phone call, and I want you to make us laugh here, okay? If you're listening, I know you will. So here we go with Matt Sames and pitching. It's great, just wish. Well, Neal.
Okay, Matt, it's Chris from Wiry and the Tom Sports Show. Just hang on one sec, okay?
Okay, here we go. Is he on? Okay. Matt Sames, how are you?
Lace, what's going on?
Not too much. You got some of my questions, right? And we have Mr. Garrow in here and Tom Neal in the studio right now. Yes, there's a whole bunch of legends
in studio.
You pitched at St. Rose as well, right?
No, I played at Lemoyne.
Oh, Lemoyne, that's right. Did you ever pitch against Tom at St. Rose, or?
I didn't pitch against. We played St. Rose. I don't think Tommy pitched against us.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, but I knew. I mean, that team was full of North Country kids. So.
Yeah. Well, what was your best pitch? I mean, did you? Tom was talking about the changeup. Did you develop a changeup? Did you throw hard? What were you? What was your MO on pitching?
Yeah, I was. When I was in college, they kind of broke me down and built me back up. So I was a two-seam fastball, slider, changeup guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a pretty good slider, and I developed I would say a pretty good changeup.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't throw that hard. I threw about 88.
That's pretty hard, just to let you know. So,
well, I mean, not by today's standard.
I know, but
these kids are pumping it in there at 96 miles an hour.
Yeah, I know, but 88 is still pretty fast. So don't Tom Neal just said that he threw about 88, but they didn't have a radar. So I have a feeling Tom threw 95. That's my opinion. That's what I'm hearing from a lot of people. So, and I bet
the
you
older
threw
we
hard
get,
too.
The older we get, the harder we threw.
Yeah. Did you know he pitched till he was 54 and was doing great?
I saw Tommy pitch up at Lion Mountain. I'm like, wait a minute, what the heck? He's a year younger than me. This was like 5 years ago.
And how'd he do? Do you remember that game?
Oh, he was throwing great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me your inspirations as
my inspirations.
Yeah, as just it could be in life, it could be as a pitcher. Who really turned you on to life and baseball, and you played all sports, by the way. Good football player. You weren't very good at basketball. No, I'm just kidding. You knew I'd get that in.
Come on, I was your shooting coach.
So
inspiration. I was lucky. We had a lot of great coaches in Plattsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
We had Wally Vanderhoff was my Legion coach.
Okay,
he was great. And funny enough, when I tried out for Little League, I got cut. And
did you really?
I didn't make a team. And then 3 weeks later, some kid quit the team, and Quinn Ryan, Mike Deloria's father-in-law,
mm-hmm.
Called my house and talked to me and said, "Hey, would you like to play?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And that's had he not done that, I don't know if I would have played baseball.
Gosh, do you remember the Little League team? Everyone knows the Little League team they were on. Everyone. I think Tom knows too, and maybe Mr. Garrow. Tom, what Little League team did you play on?
CV Lone.
CV Lone. Mr. Garrow, did they have Little League back then in Altona? Probably not.
Not in Altona.
Okay. What was your Little League team, Matt?
Bayview Dairy.
Oh, yeah.
And then became Cronin Realty.
Yep. Black uniforms, right?
Bayview Dairy was navy blue and white.
Okay.
And Cronin Realty was yellow.
Wow. Wow. Did you, like many people, did you put your uniform on if you had a 6 o'clock game? Did you put it on at 12 p.m.?
No doubt. And then I'd walk down the Fountain in Lucas with about 25 cents, and I would get 25 pieces of Pal bubble gum.
That's pretty funny. And how were you as a hitter, Matt? Were you pretty good?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. We were playing CVBL. We're playing the Peru Well Drillers, and we're facing Tracy Rotz, who was a really good pitcher in our era. And I don't know if you remember the Peru baseball field. There was a shack way out in right field. Gosh, it was hard to see from home plate. It was
just beyond the fence.
400 yards, 400 feet anyway. So Rossi was throwing really well, but I was kind of I was looking for his breaking ball, and he kind of hung one out over the plate, and I hit it. Now, there was a wind blowing in from right field, but I hit it pretty well, and it went out, and it actually hit the roof of the shack, made this big thunderous, sound, and then I spent about 10 minutes going around the bases talking to Rossi the whole time because he was a friend of mine.
Wow. Were you a feisty pitcher? Did you throw inside? Were you afraid to hit someone?
I wasn't good enough not to throw inside.
Okay.
So I had to throw inside.
Okay.
And actually at Lemoyne College, I played for the legendary coach Dick Rockwell. That was just part of the program. You are going to throw inside. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was just part of our training.
What's the how many people did you hit? Did you hit a lot of people?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably one a game, maybe.
Wow. So, okay, we have to move on to one more because we have to end at 9:40. But Matt, I'm going to have another chat with you on another show, okay? And thank you so much for letting us talk to you, okay? You take care of yourself.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Okay, take care.
All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right, bye. And the last person, he's not on, but he wrote a whole bunch of stuff, and he is also recognized as one of the best. There's also Dale Murphy, too. Let's not forget him. But Mike St. Louis, he's in the Hall of Fame, and he wrote a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm going to read as much as I can. We don't have a lot of time, but he said Mr. Garrow was his post-20 coach when he played. Excellent coach and very well respected, and he still is. His best pitch was his fastball. He had a decent curve, and Mr. Garrow helped me more with that curve. He had some no-hitters in high school and when playing for post-20, and won in the Final Four game of the American Legion State Tournament. And he said it was against Hudson Falls. Tim O'Connell made a heck of a defensive play to save that game. He was also, Mike was drafted 3 times, Detroit Tigers, Montreal Expos, and Chicago White Sox. And the first 2 times when he was in college. And, he knew it would be a tough climb, and he wanted to finish his education. He was receiving full financial aid and would have lost it. So the final time he was dealing with a serious rotator cuff injury, and that back then they didn't have the technology that they have. And the scout who drafted you thanked you for being honest, but he said he'd still be willing to give you a chance. But you knew your pitching career would soon be over. And he played 2 more years in the CVL and had to retire. And his toughest local hitters were Tim O'Connell, Tommy Hackett, Tom Kowalowski, Jimmy Schutz. Wow, Jim Schutz too. And I'm sure there are a few more. And one of his inspirations, other than his family, is he loved Carl Yastrzemski, who I respected a lot, but he's a Red Sox. So your coaches were Elton Jodwin. Unfortunately, I think just passed away, and I'm sorry. And Harry Demery, Gary Butler, Mr. Garrow, Carlton Wood, he was at Ithaca, and Andy Mogish from Syracuse University. Your dad, when you were young, Gary Butler and Bob Garrow helped me the most in learning the different aspects of becoming a pitcher. And Gary Butler was one of the best too. You had 21 strikeouts in a 7-inning game. Wow, versus St. John's. And you were okay as a hitter. When the DH started your junior year in college, it ended my college hitting career. That's pretty good. So, you almost made it. And, that's just after throwing for a bit, you turned around and you saw Don Drysdale standing beyond the mound watching you when you're, I believe you're, I think in college, and he proceeded to give you tips. Pretty exciting. You were only 18 years old. So, and you said, do you remember me telling you that I would not be, oh yeah, okay. Tell Coach Garrow I said hi, and that he's an amazing man. And I think we all know that about Mr. Garrow. And I love what Fuzzy Facette said. We got to get him, and they have to name Oak Street School after him. So, but thank you, Mike. You are one of the best too. There's no doubt. And just talking about pitching in general, it's fun. So, any lasting comments from Mr. Garrow before we're about to end our show on pitching in general? Anything you want to say, Mr. Garrow?
Well, just listening to our discussion here, you have to note that we had a lot of really fine pitchers come from the North Country. When you were speaking about a lot of the players not leaving the North Country, that's very true. After World War II, a lot of the military guys who were in the military came back and involved in the war and so on. And I know 2 or 3. One of the best players I ever played with was George. Sometimes I forget names. I'm sorry. Maybe they'll come back.
That's
but
okay.
Anyway, he had a chance to go play professionally, and so did a number of others. But they had been away from home so long.
Yeah.
They wanted to come back home and stay here.
I understand that too. Tom, you have anything you would like to end with?
I just want to thank you for having us in, and it was a lot of fun. Maybe
sure was.
You're feeling ill or having a tough day and need a sub in the radio. Maybe we could come in here, and I bet Bob and I could talk baseball all day.
Yes. Even though I wasn't very good in baseball, I love baseball. I love just the little things about it. So, but you guys were all great, and I'm sorry, Tim Slardo, but we're going to talk to you again, and thank you, Tim. It was good friends with Johnny Padre. He's the only person that ever made it to the major leagues, and he was also MVP of the World Series. So I think people are anxious to hear from Tim one of these days. Tim, sorry, and we'll handle this the next time, and you take care of yourself. Thank you, everyone. Thank you also for Wiry for giving us a little extra time, because these guys were great. And top 5, top 10, doesn't matter. All great pitchers. So take care, everyone. Thank you.